Hi, welcome to RHI Giving Day. My name is Lou Hensley. I'm on the board of directors. I'm also a donor for this fine organization. I'd like to first off thank our sponsors for today's Day of Giving. Wilson Keown Winningham, Don and Cheryl Wizinger, and Noble Seating and Mobility. Thank you so much for your support. It's my pleasure today to interview a gentleman named Gary Nance. I've had the pleasure of also interviewing Gary before, so his story is wonderful. It's very heartfelt, and if you're an Indianapolis resident, he was on the front magazine, and the story was in the Carmel Monthly magazine in May of this year, and also there'll be some postings of the condition Gary was in before he had this tragic situation with COVID-19, because he was a master bodybuilder at his young age of 64, I believe. But then COVID took him down, and then he had to come use RHI, and his results were well. Let Gary tell you the story. I'd like to introduce you now to Gary Nance, an extremely well-known architect and design gentleman here in Indianapolis. He's top-notch in A1. Gary, could you tell us your story of what your experiences were at RHI, please?
Well, thank you, everyone, for having me part of the Giving Day. I can't tell you how much this means to me. As you mentioned, here I was in top shape. The end of March, I got sick with the COVID-19 out of the blue. It hit me within 4.5 days, where I was then on a ventilator for 18 days, and then in intensive care 4 days after that. And then after those 4 days, I was transported to RHI. Now, the only familiarity I had with RHI was a friend of mine, Joe Barnett, who had a stroke, and I remember visiting him once or twice when he was there. But that's all I knew. He was there as a stroke patient. I didn't realize where I was headed until I basically got there. I did know that my doctors, everyone was insisting I go to RHI. I think some other people were talking about getting in a different rehab facility, but my doctor and several of my clients who are very well known in Indianapolis said, no, you've got to get Gary into RHI. So I'll never forget the evening I was transported from St. Vincent's over to RHI. It was a Tuesday evening. I'm in one of those ambulance transports all by myself, all bent over, down over 50 pounds, couldn't really walk. I'm in a wheelchair, I'm covered in blankets, and, I didn't know what to expect, quite frankly. And I pulled in, and I was immediately brought in to meet the Mocha Man, and he was great. He's one of the people on staff who really opened his arms and treated me with such respect, and made that whole initial meeting of that evening so much more livable and understanding of what I was going to go through. He did tell me that they were going to start rehab the next morning at 7 a.m. It was already 7 p.m. I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes. And everybody got me ready for bed, and because I was not able to walk or use the bathroom facility or anything. And as you had mentioned, here I was coming from, the bodybuilding world and, business world, and going a mile a minute every day. And here I am confined to a wheelchair and not able to walk on my own. And I couldn't hold a pencil or a fork in my hand. And I thought, my God, my career's ruined. What's going on? And then the next morning, Allie came in. She was my rehab person the first day at 7 a.m. Well, at 6 a.m. they came in and got me ready. 7 a.m. I'm wheeled down to rehab and able to walk maybe about 5 feet with a belt around me and somebody holding on, and I'm back into that wheelchair. And I'm like, oh my God, And then everyone's enthusiasm, support, mental, physical approach to me is really what pulled me out of a mental doldrum. And I realized, okay, I'm in the right spot. I'm going to work with these people. They're going to work with me, and we're going to get through this. And everybody said I was going to be there, anywhere from 15 to 25 days. I was able to get out in 10. And the only reason I was able to do that was because of the staff and the administration. Our RHI is incredible. And I can't tell you to this day how much I value everybody's friendship through that whole ordeal, down to where I was putting little pins in blocks in the little holes and during blocks into different blocks and being, like I said, able to walk up 3 steps on the 3rd day was a huge accomplishment. I remember so I got in, like I said, on a Tuesday, so all that started on a Wednesday. By that Saturday, I was up to walking 150 yards before I collapsed back into the wheelchair. So that was a huge accomplishment. It was one of those early spring days. I'll never forget it. The therapist, here it is, on a Saturday afternoon. And I think it was about 2 or 2:30, and we're walking along with the walker, but or the wheelchair, but walking along the outside of the pond, and I'm just kind of trying to paint a picture of how truly caring everybody is, whether it was the morning staff, the afternoon staff, or the evening staff. It didn't matter. Everybody was just so accomplished and professional in what they did. Then it got into the point where the different rehab people doing different exercises, and here I was a guy that could lift quite a bit, and I was able to maybe lift a 5-pound dumbbell. So you can imagine what that was doing to me mentally. And everybody kept saying, don't worry about what you did do. Let's worry about how, or be concerned about what you're going to do. Quit thinking about the past. That's over. Now let's forward, and you're going to move forward, and we're going to make you that guy you were. And, all of that, as easy as it seems for someone to say, somebody in my situation, it meant a lot. Because then I would also look around at other people who had severe brain injuries and severe strokes and who may not be able to have full mobility. And I thought to myself, all right, pull it together and let's get you out of here. And I just took it to a whole nother level. I'll never forget one of the funny days is when Allie said, hey, let's put you on a Stairmaster. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And she got me on a Stairmaster for 1 minute. At the very slowest pace you could be. And here I was used to doing a Stairmaster for an hour. And we got on there, and it was about a minute episode, and then I had to rest for like 3 or 4 minutes. And then she got on there another minute. And then that was kind of the breakthrough. I was also able to climb up those steps. There's different platforms that they work you on, and you work your way up. And until you can climb that back stairway, you're not going to get out of there. And I thought, I'm going to determine to get up those steps. And that happened about the day 8. And then it got to the point where I was able to walk unassisted. Not very fast, but still unassisted. And once again, going back, is everybody's enthusiasm in helping me get better, and my sense of humor and sarcastic approach, I guess, I'm going to put it, with the different people and their professional abilities. I remember Emily, she was putting me through some card memory type things to get my brain rebooted, and I remember laughing with her, going, my gosh, I couldn't have done that kind of card game before I got sick. So we laughed and different things like that. And at one point, towards the end of my stay, they had me on a bench to see what would happen and how I would react if I fell. And so I rolled off the bench and got on the floor, and then they said, okay, that's a good way to do it. Now let's see how well you can get back up. And before I did that, I did about a 30-second plank. I remember 2 of the therapists walking by and said, get him out of here. And then I knew it was time, and I was out of there within the next 2.5 days. So I made it out of there in 10 days. Would I like to stay more just because of the friendship? Absolutely. I know time's running up, but my passion and heart, and I'm going to get choked up here for a minute, but I couldn't have done it without you guys. And I'm convinced that the passion that I can bring by being a board member and the clientele that I deal with, I'm going to help RHI take their whole facility to an entirely different level. And once again, I'm so grateful to even be involved. And I can't tell everybody how much this means to me. RHI is an amazing place. Thanks, everyone.
Gary, thank you so much too. You're just a wonderful individual also. Is there a better way or reason now why to donate? I mean, Jimmy Chris, what a story. By the way, Gary, I love your plank story so much. I've been telling everybody you planked for a minute. Not plank for a minute, so I'm making it look better. So anyway, needless to say, whatever,
There you go.
whatever it was, please today, when you get a chance, please click on our link and donate, and please invite others to donate. Our goal today is $200,000. So do whatever you can and get your friends involved. Appreciate all your help. Thanks for everything. And Gary, thanks again to see you. Glad you're doing well.
Thank you again. Thank you, everyone.